Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us once again for our daily English news edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday, presenting you with a translated version of today's top news stories. Despite the government's declaration that the 2016 budget is the most realistic in years, there has already been a shortage of 3 billion lek in the month of January. Speaking today at the Economic Commission, the Minister of Finance said that this shortage is because of decreased fuel prices in the international market. Even the majority was critical of the shortage, and the MP Anastas Angeli blamed the decision to give 1 billion lek to the Albanian Energy Corporation. On the other side, the opposition claims that the shortage is because of failure to collect taxes. The Democratic MP Ridvan Bode says that the government did not benefit at all from its increase of taxes. Still another MP said that it was the inability of the government to spend its budget during 2015 that forced them to distribute 6.3 billion lek to their clients in the last days of the year. The state budget was changed twice in the month of December. The government reduced investments by 5.2 billion lek, the reserve fund by 5 billion lek, and the appropriations fund by another 5 billion. They also gave a collective sum of 2.5 billion to the new municipalities. The most recent budget review was in order to transfer a fund of 1 billion lek to the Albanian Energy Corporation and to distribute 1.5 billion lek for holiday bonuses. The normative acts for these budget changes are expected to pass in Parliament in Thursday's plenary session. The Law Commission has rejected the President's decree on returning the property law to Parliament for review. One of the Socialist MPs said today that the decree was subjective and unilateral, and that the President's arguments had malicious intent. The President's representative replied that the property law is unconstitutional, does not reflect the decisions of the Court of Strasbourg, and violates the security principle. This reply drew a response from the chairwoman of the Commission for Returning and Compensating Properties, who argued that the law will resolve the property issues that have been present for the past 25 years. She said, "Under this law, property owners will be compensated within 3 years, and 11,000 files will be reviewed within that time." The opposition members then demanded that the law be reviewed in Parliament, accusing the majority of trying to take property from the rightful owners. In the end, the Commission decided to reject the decree, and their decision will be voted on in Thursday's plenary session. The Minister of Environment spoke today at the Commission for Productive Activity, saying that the destruction of the forests has contributed to the floods in the south of the country. Mr. Koka blamed the former government for the chaotic situation of Albania's forest lands, saying that they issued more than 2,600 environmental permits during their rule. He said that these permits have caused more flooding in the south of the country and forced the state to pay out large sums of money to compensate the residents for the damage. Under the current government, he said, only 24 permits have been issued in the last 2 years. He also explained that 435 permits were issued to construct hydropower plants between 2007 and 2013, another major strain on the environment. His claims were denied by the Democratic members of the Commission. The Commission for Productive Activity did adopt a 10-year forest moratorium that will be sent to Parliament for approval on Thursday. If passed, the law will prohibit harvesting, trading, or exporting lumber for a period of 10 years. The Democrats have demanded a resolution to the issue of metals, which has recently been at the forefront of political debate. The Democrats want certain metals to be retracted from individuals who served as prosecutors during communism. In a resolution that has already been submitted to Parliament, they demand the drafting of a complete legal package that would strip the metals from these individuals, together with any other benefits that they have been receiving over the years. Additionally, they want a clear system to prevent the same thing from happening in the future. The Albanian Parliament has made the following declaration. The Parliament will draft and adopt the necessary legislation for the cancellation of any decoration, medal, or other act of esteem given to individuals who have committed crimes against humanity. Parliament will adopt the necessary legislation to repeal any financial benefit or privilege for these individuals, including extra or special pensions because of veteran status or any other status. The pensions of these people must not be higher than the pensions that the victims of the communist persecution. In their resolution, the Democrats are demanding that the legislation be finished by February 20th to correspond with the 25th anniversary of the fall of communism. They also demand that the Assembly push the government to increase the funding and efforts to reveal the crimes of communism, convict the guilty, and compensate the victims. The Democrats say that such a law has become necessary at a time when the government is rewarding the officials of the communist regime. In their estimation, awarding medals to former communist officers is a serious provocation of social consciousness. The Ad Hoc Commission for Justice Reform has not yet sent their final draft to Venice, which will be accompanied by the remarks of the Democratic Party and the SMI. It's reported that the document has not been sent yet because the opposition presented their remarks only yesterday, and they are currently being translated. There is no official or final deadline for the document to be sent, but Venice has announced that they will not postpone the visit of their experts. The visit is scheduled for January 21st, and the Venice rapporteurs have agreed to meet with the political stakeholders and the experts who worked on the reform on Wednesday. At that time, they are supposed to be familiar with the opinions and discuss the need to intervene in the Constitution to allow the justice reform to be implemented. Venice had requested a consensual draft for this purpose, but the political parties in Albania could not arrive at a common ground. The Venice Commission is expected to give its final opinion on the justice reform in March. A meeting was held today between the chairman of the Democratic Parliamentary Group, the opposition experts for justice reform, and the director for the Western Balkans from the European Foreign Service. According to an announcement from the press conference, the parties all agreed that consensus is the only solution for the justice reform. Mr. Halimi expressed his concern about the actions of the majority, which he said excluded any possibility of cooperation with the opposition. He says that there is obvious intention on the part of the majority to take control of the justice system. The director for the Western Balkans gave a reminder that the justice reform is one of the key priorities for Albania's acceptance into the EU. She encouraged a sincere cooperation between the parties, just like they showed in the decriminalization issue. The second trilateral meeting between Albania, Italy, and Serbia will take place tomorrow in Tirana. The Albanian Foreign Minister Ditmir Bushati will meet with the foreign ministers of Italy and Serbia to discuss the process of European integration and the strengthening of regional cooperation. The initiative was started more than a year ago by the Italian diplomacy to boost the dialogue in the Balkans. Italy considers Albania and Serbia to be the two most important factors for the stability in the region. The ministers are expected to discuss cooperation in many fields, including economy, energy, and tourism. They will focus on identifying new methods to realize their joint projects. They are also expected to discuss the strengthening of communication based on mutual understanding. The trilateral meeting will be preceded by separate meetings between the Minister Bushati and his Serbian and Italian counterparts, and at 3 p.m. they will hold a joint press conference. Thanks for joining us once again for our daily English news edition. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with more translated news. Have a great night.